Galen Marek was born in 19 BBY on the Wookiee homeworld of Kashyyyk. His parents were both former Jedi Knights. Kento and Mali Marek met on the planet Talos and fell in love. They married in secret and left the strict code of the Jedi Order behind. Galen is naturally strong in the Force, given his parents' lineage. Trandoshan slavers attack Kashyyyk with the goal of abducting Wookiees and selling them into slavery. Mali fights in defense of the Wookiees. She kills some Trandoshans but is eventually overwhelmed and killed. Kento raises Galen as a single parent until Darth Vader personally arrives on Kashyyyk to hunt the former Jedi down. Vader cuts down Kento but feels a much larger presence in the Force. He was previously unaware of Galen but takes the orphan boy to be his own acolyte. Vader gives the young Galen the codename Starkiller. This was done partially to keep the boy a secret, but also to remove his identity. Vader doesn't want Starkiller to feel like an individual. He's simply a weapon for Vader to wield. Vader keeps Starkiller in isolation and trains him in the ways of the dark side. He's put through brutal sparring sessions and learns to be an assassin. His only company, aside from Vader, is a holodroid called Proxy. Starkiller seems to have forgotten all about Galen Marek, his parents, and any life before Vader. His only goal is to please his master. By the time Starkiller is around 17 Galactic Standard years old, he's a formidable warrior, a skilled assassin, and incredibly powerful in the dark side of the Force. Vader's weapon is ready. He sends him to hunt down fugitive Jedi. Rahm Kota survived Order 66 by commanding a militia of volunteers, not clones. He did not hide afterwards either. He would attack Imperial installations, hoping to draw Vader out into a fight. Instead of Vader, Kota would be facing Starkiller. Starkiller wins the duel and blinds the Jedi Master, but Kota survives the encounter. He'll return to Starkiller's story in the future. Kazdan Paratus is next on the list. He was stationed at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant when Order 66 was declared. He fled the temple immediately. He would then feel unyielding guilt for leaving his fellow Jedi to die and eventually descends into madness on Raxus Prime. He spends his time creating droids to defend him and rebuilds the Jedi Temple and even the Jedi Masters out of trash. When Starkiller is sent to kill him, a task that Vader isn't even sure that his apprentice is ready for, he has to fight through the droid warriors before he can kill the Alina Jedi Master. Shaak was also at the Jedi Temple when Order 66 was declared. When the Jedi Temple was lost to the Purge, she flees to Felucia with Maris Brood, a Padawan that lost her original master. T spends her days training not just Brood, but many Felucians for an inevitable battle with the Sith. Starkiller sent again, and again he defeats the Jedi Master. When Starkiller returns to Vader, he's under the impression that the two will overthrow Palpatine and rule the galaxy. Palpatine, always one step ahead of Vader, calls out Vader's treachery. To prove his loyalty, Vader stabs Starkiller in the back and throws his body into space. He secretly dispatches droids to retrieve his apprentice's body. Starkiller is brought aboard a science vessel, Empirical, where he is revived and rebuilt by a team of droids. While his rebirth is not nearly as drastic as Vader's own, the two do mirror each other in a lot of ways. These similarities influence Starkiller's journey as it goes on and how he sees his master. Vader tells his apprentice the betrayal had to happen. Palpatine had to think Starkiller dead to let his guard down. Vader's new plan is to have Starkiller stoke the fire of rebellion throughout the galaxy so Palpatine's attention is pulled to dealing with the larger conflict, and then Vader and Starkiller can overthrow him once and for all. Starkiller agrees to continue serving Vader. If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe. This is partially a lifetime of conditioning with Vader being all that Starkiller knows, but I also think Starkiller sees the similarities, that mirror that we just discussed. Even though Starkiller was falling in line with Vader's orders, he was never fully able to trust his master again. That isn't the Sith way. There is not supposed to be trust between master and apprentice. Starkiller takes on this new part of his life, severing the few connections of his old life that he had. Most notably, a female pilot called Juno Eclipse. Juno was kind to Starkiller. She treats him like a person, not a weapon. When he first began to feel comfortable with her, he was very hard on himself, trying to tamp down these very normal feelings just to show his conditioning. After some time, Juno's being held aboard Empirical, the same ship where Starkiller was remade. The ship is about to be destroyed. Starkiller defies his orders and saves her life. Starkiller's lost now. He needs guidance, but his only mentor is Darth Vader. He tracks down the Jedi Master Rahm Kota. He does this in the name of carrying out his assigned task, helping build up the rebellion against the Empire. He also does this, at least subconsciously if you ask me, because he needs a new master. Starkiller developed a certain respect for the Jedi Master and General when they fought. He thought that all Jedi were weak before he faced one himself. The fight that Kota put up impresses Starkiller. From Kota's point of view, since he lost the fight with Starkiller and his sight, he is relocated to Cloud City and became an alcoholic. He's barely connected to the Force at this point. The two eventually form something of a master and apprentice relationship. Kota also stands in as a father figure, something Starkiller has not had since his actual father was killed on Kashyyyk. He then begins to see things as they actually are. He sees the suffering of the galaxy because of Palpatine. He sees that the efforts of the rebellion are more than a cover story. He also starts to feel the light side of the Force. I'm getting ahead of myself a bit. Starkiller's story is not that cut and dry. A quick aside, in the game The Force Unleashed, where we first meet Starkiller, has multiple endings. I'm going to go with the one that is considered to be the true ending, the light side ending. Kota recommends Senator Bail Organa from Alderaan as a rebel leader. Bail had traveled to Felucia in search of Shaak, not knowing that Starkiller had already led to her death. When Starkiller returns to the planet, he finds much of it corrupted by the dark side. He's surprised that it makes him feel uneasy. He's already changing, whether he wants to admit it to himself or not. He feels a particularly strong dark presence in the Force and fights his way across the planet's terrain toward it. As he draws nearer, he can also feel Bail Organa in the Force. He finds Bail and informs the Senator that he's working with Kota. Bail tells him that Maris Brood, the Padawan that Shaak took in after Order 66, had since fallen to the dark side and gone mad, seeing the death of her second master. That is the intense presence that Starkiller is feeling in the dark side. The two have an intense fight. It's a test of both physical prowess and their ability in the Force. More light side messaging sinks into Starkiller as he remembers things that Shaak said when they had their duel. He understands the Force is fluid. Light and dark are parts of the whole. He isn't fully in the light, but he does show the broken Padawan mercy and spares her life. Organa then tells Kota that the hidden rebellion couldn't show itself too publicly until the Empire looked like it had a weakness to exploit. Starkiller contacts Vader to see what could be done to further his original mission, though at this point, his heart isn't fully in it. Proxy, Starkiller's droid and training partner, attacks. After a brief fight, the droid takes the form of Vader to deliver a message. The message from Vader to Starkiller is very much like one that Palpatine delivered to Vader. Both masters tell their respective apprentices they forgot their place and then remind them what their true objective is. Juno Eclipse overhears this entire conversation and is distraught to think that Starkiller is still serving Vader after everything that's happened. She doesn't abandon him though. She knows he's changing and has faith that he'll make the right call in the end. In a way of confirming her beliefs, though that's not his intention, Starkiller replaces the bled kyber crystal in his lightsaber with a blue one that he found in the wreckage of his family home on Kashyyyk. The blue blade makes the weapon his, and also shows the path that he's now on, even though he might not know it yet. Starkiller moves forward with his mission. He attacks a Star Destroyer shipyard that Vader had recommended. This recommendation will give the rebellion that weakness to exploit that they need so badly. But it also benefits Vader's plan by causing the rebellion to show themselves more fully to distract Palpatine. At least that's what Starkiller believes. As he navigates this latest task, he's distracted by which future he wants. Does he want to rule the galaxy with Vader, what he was bred his whole life for? Or does he want to leave it all behind and have a future with Eclipse? The assault on the shipyard works as Vader intended. The embers of the rebellion are growing into a large fire. More potential leaders of the cause make themselves known. This is a massive divergence from canon where Mon Mothma gives the speech that leads to the Alliance to restore the Republic. In this timeline, Bail Organa, Garm Bel Iblis, and Mothma create the Carillion Treaty, which is, for all intents and purposes, the official declaration of the Alliance to restore the Republic. Darth Vader leads a contingent of Imperial troops into this fateful meeting, showing Starkiller that he has been betrayed once again. The whole plan on having the rebellion distract Palpatine was actually a way for Starkiller to expose the rebels for Palpatine. This latest betrayal was the final straw for him. He now realizes what his real friends and new allies had seen in him, even if they were being fooled to a degree as well. He denounces the dark side, the Empire, and Vader. He declares his love for Juno Eclipse and swears his allegiance to the Rebel Alliance. To show his new dedication and to undo some of the damage that he's done, he now moves against Vader and Palpatine to free the captured rebel leaders. All parties are aboard the still incomplete first Death Star. Starkiller has a ferocious fight with Vader and wounds his former master. Palpatine attacks Kota and extends a hand to Starkiller, offering him Vader's place by his side. Not only does Starkiller refuse, but he places himself between Palpatine's Force Lightning and Kota. He once again thinks of his loved ones, namely Eclipse, and is able to absorb Palpatine's attack before reflecting it back at the evil Sith Lord. Starkiller dies in the process, but his sacrifice buys his friends the time they need to escape. Just to make it clear, Palpatine is hurt, but survives. In honor of Galen Marek's sacrifice, his birth name restored after he denounces the dark side fully, Leia Organa, who Marek had actually come across earlier in the story, adopts the Marek family crest as the official symbol of the rebellion. Vader and the Emperor regroup, of course, but know the games they played with Starkiller cost the Sith a powerful tool and also strengthened their enemies. Despite Marek's death, this is not the end of Starkiller's story. 6 months after Marek's death, Vader is on Kamino. He's attempting to create a more obedient version of his fallen apprentice. The clones that come out of these attempts are largely unstable. Cloning the Force has always been a problem when it comes to stability, whether canon, legends, or even in what-if timelines. One clone in particular retains Marek's memories and breaks free from the facility. He flees Vader and seeks out Juno and Kota. He claims that he's the real Galen Marek, but inside he can't be sure if he is or if he's just a copy. He stands by his friends from a past life and actually manages to capture Vader. These events are from The Force Unleashed 2, and again, I'm going to go with the light side ending since it is considered to be the true ending. Starkiller turns the captured Vader over to his rebel allies. He chooses not to execute his former master and reunites with Juno Eclipse. He leaves the Alliance fleet behind. Starkiller's story is primarily told in the Force Unleashed games. There was also a novelization and even some stories exploring the side characters of the franchise. These games are legend stories, but even in that expanded universe timeline, they stand apart, at least a little bit. I always took them to be more of a what-if scenario. Check out this video for more Star Wars lore.